So today we're going to be looking at a scenario where the U.S.'s Middle Eastern enemies go to war. They all unite and go to war. Also, by the way, yes, I included Yemen, even though it's a Saudi Arabian enemy. I don't care. So as we can see, we have a mild Arab world unitation with Palestine, if you recognize it, Lebanon. We have the non rebel force control parts of Iraq and Syria, as well as Jordan. We also have Iran being included into this, and they decide to incorporate Pakistan after a previous war with India is lost, signifying the border. So with this, with Iran being in this, we have Saudi Arabia declaring war on them, which activates their allies over here. And with that, we have U.S. being allies with Saudi Arabia. They declare war on the. I guess we'll just call this the Middle Eastern Alliance, the United Arab Emirates of the Middle East. Yeah, the United Arab Emirates of the Middle East. I'll just call them the Middle East. Why not? Even though we're in the Middle East. So with this, we have Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Georgia joining in on this, as well as Israel, which Saudi Arabia isn't that happiest about. And we also have Kuwait joining in because of this. And I was gonna fully color in Iraq and Syria, but this just looked too good. We also have Armenia joining a separate side, so they can just go to war with Azerbaijan, which they tell their allies to stay out of. So first we have Azerbaijan quickly crushing the rebellious province by causing multiple encirclements and going in quickly so they can capture Armenia and refocus their attention onto Iran. Quickly we see enforcement of Azerbaijani troops and causing an encirclement and being able to wipe out the country after taking about 60% of it and capturing the capital. Also, by the way, unrealistic, and this is just for fun. So don't hate, please. Anyway, so after this, we have Azerbaijan using the power of national anthems to instantly go in it and attack Iran. And also, by the way, Azerbaijan incorporates Armenia into them. Also, do the Russian occupied parts of Georgia, because why not? So we have Azerbaijan quickly making a push down into Iran's northern part. This comes to a screeching halt as Iran is able to start pushing back, and even starts a small offensive into Azerbaijan, liberating most of Armenia and causing an encirclement. Over in this weird, funky looking part, we have Saudi Arabia deciding to do their own thing and invade Iraq, Jordan, and Syria. We also have Israel capturing Palestine and Lebanon. And because they're Israel, they are a military powerhouse. We have them pushing down and going further into the Emirates. I'll just call them the Emirates now. Screw it. We have Saudi Arabia pushing up and hoping to meet and deciding not to meet the Israel forces because reasons. We have them pushing down and pushing up over on their southern border, causing encirclement. And we have U.S. troops landing in Kuwait, causing a small offensive to go out and splitting the Emirates into two. So with this, we have the USA fortifying that border and pushing up, hopefully meeting with Saudi forces. And eventually Saudi Arabia does that themselves, and then they wipe out the rest of this front line. So now the plan for the blue team is to simply capture Islamabad, while the Iraqi forces are on the defensive. We see mainly Saudi Arabian forces are able to reach the capital, but the U.S. decides to go screw that and takes it for themselves for the second time in history. Because screw Saudi Arabia, I guess. I don't know, that just sounded like a really American thing to do. We have the UAE making a small landing in Iran, and the reason why this is happening is because Saudi Arabia is technically the aggressor, but they were threatened, so that's why they're blue. And they were fortified before this. We do have some red team progress, as Yemen is able to start a small offensive into Saudi Arabia, hoping to take all of their coast on the Red Sea. Now Yemen is pretty still kind of butthurt over the small conflict that engaged, I think, in 2020. So yeah, that happens, which is one of the reasons why the soldiers are pretty. The morale is high. There you go. We have Yemen capturing lots of coast. It's a bit after using lots of their energy on it, and then pushing into Oman to hopefully unite into Yemen. We also have France and Britain on this war. Got to mention that. We see the continuation of the push through into Oman, and eventually it looks like this until American and Saudi forces are able to hold the line. The plan now is to split because the Emirates are already split into three. The plan is to split them into four and capture the Iranian capital with it. It's not, which is actually the new capital of the Emirates. Ugh. So with this, we have mainly U.S. forces pushing up in hopes of capturing the capital. This does come at a screeching halt after some oil fields being taken away. After some oil fields being taken away, which the U.S. gladly occupies for themselves for some reason, we have them being pushed back. But the USA doesn't let them get too far. They want their oil. Haha, funny USA oil joke. It's not like literally every other country in the world wants oil. We continue to see blue team pushback, and even Turkey deciding to go help out their ally Azerbaijan. We see them now setting up a massive front line with Iran, hoping to capture the coast of the Caspian Sea. With this, I guess that's not really a coast, but you know what I mean. And Caspian Sea is actually a lake. We eventually see Turkish forces with Azerbaijan capturing all the Caspian Sea parts of Iran, and now being in a pretty good spot to capture the capital. We eventually see Turkish forces pushing down Azerbaijan, um, pushing the Iranian forces out of Azerbaijan, and now the Brotherhood can 100% fight. That's real. That's what Turkey and Azerbaijan consider themselves. They consider themselves brothers. You can look it up. If that doesn't happen, wow, Jesus, I'm terrible. So, anyways, after this, we see another plan being hatched where Turkish forces and U.S. forces try to connect with each other to cause a massive encirclement. Eventually, Iran decides to build up their forces for a massive pushback, and they decide to do that, but they accidentally walk into Afghanistan with that, and they meet some setbacks. So with this, we have the war being locked in a somewhat of a stalemate right now, and also, but why do I forget? Why do I forget to mention this? With Ethiopia joining, just so they can secure relationships with USA and Saudi Arabia. So with this, we have the war being locked in a stalemate for about 6 months, with no real action happening, except for some minor Emirate pushback, which mainly just comes in the form of this, which they're trying to encircle the blue team forces. It doesn't really work though. Eventually, we do see the deadlock being broken as the USA continues their push into Iran, hopefully meeting up with the Turkish forces, which they're able to successfully do so. Now the capital is like right here. I think I might have already captured it, but I don't care. We see blue team forces in Kuwait going up to meet with Turkish forces again, so they can continue the encirclement of Iran, or at least a massive part of it. So with this, now we have Iran being pretty screwed right now, but they don't really know what to do. Eventually, we have Iran being in a pretty desperate mobilization part. They're already pretty mobilized, but you can't really beat the U.S. even if you're in a desert. And even if you can beat the U.S. in a desert, you have Saudi Arabia with you. And I know people are going to bring up Afghanistan, but that, if you look at when the U.S. originally invaded them, they did amazing, but they can't really fight groups. They really can't. So yeah, we see this massive encirclement of most of like 60% of Iran, and so with this we see just the entire capturement of this entire area. It starts south and just ends up going all around it. So now with this we have mainly only Pakistan's part being left. So with that they push down. Although in Iran they are able to develop 2 nuclear bombs, but they're fairly weak, so they just instantly use them. We have them one being dropped on Mecca, the holy city of Saudi Arabia, and they use their ally of Cuba because Iran's a Russian ally and Cuba's a Russian ally. So yeah, they can do that. And they actually use it. They nuke Detroit. I definitely do not live in Ohio. Don't